And welcome to another fabulous episode of The Escape with Nick and Adam. No Adam today. He had to work, but I have the next best thing. I've got Nate, Josh, and Austin. Of course, everybody knows Nate and Austin, or Nate and Josh from Chihuahuas. Austin, we've been trying to get you on forever. Welcome to the show, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So, there we go. All right, so Austin, I make everybody do this. We need your nerd cred. This is a nerdy show, so we need some nerd cred from you. Are you a comic book guy? We know you're an artist. I'll just let you introduce yourself real quick.
So you want me to give you some stuff that would give me nerd cred, or are you going to ask me questions, or you want me to introduce myself regularly?
Introduce yourself, and we'll see if that does enough for the nerd cred. So if we need more nerd cred, we'll get to it. But I think you'll be okay. But
well, my name is Austin. I'm based out of Phoenix, Arizona. Comic book artist, and just started getting into the sketch card dealio. Let's see, nerd cred stuff. I don't really know what I could bring up that would solidify my.
Well, you're a comic book artist, so I think that's a pretty big check off the resume there. So,
all right, good.
Your Instagram real quick if that's
all right. He's a big Street Sharks fan.
Oh yeah,
that adds to it because most people probably don't even know what Street Sharks is anymore. So that works. So.
I know, and it seems like a lot of the people, they were just one generation older than me, so they know Ninja Turtles and things like that, but they don't know Street Sharks. A lot of times I bring it up, I say, "Oh, you remember Street Sharks?" They're like, no.
So, the hell is Street Sharks? Yeah. No, it's always weird how that works, one generation off. Because I remember, when I was in high school, I think my junior year, or no, it's middle school. I was in 8th grade, and then the crop of 6th graders came in, and they're all going Pokemon, Pikachu. I'm like, what the hell are you even saying to me right now? And next thing you know, it's the biggest thing ever. But I was my generation I just missed it. I was perfectly content. Yeah, it was right over. I was perfectly content with, I had G.I. Joe, He-Man, Turtles, Thundercats.
Yes.
And I'm good. Anything, I'm calling it good right there. So
you and I we must be close to the same age, because I missed that whole Pikachu and the Yu-Gi-Oh and all that.
They all come in. I'm like, what are you even saying? I don't know what you're saying to me right now. So yeah, it's like I said, it's just weird how the generational, it just misses. And like I said, after I'm like, I'll take all my nerdy stuff and I'm gonna stay right here, and that's kind of where I stayed most of my life. So. And I'm okay, because as it turns out, the '80s were pretty awesome. So.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me pull up your Instagram real quick so people can get. So I'm gonna hover. If you want me to pick out anything off your Instagram here, I'll.
I don't know. Just there's a Street Shark thing. You probably get a better picture of it a little lower, but that's one of the prints I have up in Strange Adventures out here, formerly Atomic Comics. It's a shop out here in the Phoenix area.
I like this. I saw this one on this. I was like, that thing's cool, man.
Oh yeah. Well, Ed Piskor is a big fan of Faust and the underground outlaw comics of the 90s and 80s and stuff like that. And so that's homage to Faust #1. And in that, I don't know if you're familiar with that cover, but he's holding a head just like that, but it's Faust. And so this character, I think his name was something Crowley. Anyway, he kind of has a similar mask. So I thought he'd be a good one to throw in Faust's place. It was hard to get it. That paper didn't take the markers too well. I kept thinking it looked terrible, but I think it turned out all right.
No, it turned out great. You have a very distinct art style. It's very, I love just the colors are, pop like crazy. How would you kind of describe your style? How did you even kind of get your style? How to develop?
I think it developed naturally just through my my influences and things like that. But I like to describe it as kind of like a fusion of punk rock and psychedelia. I really like to go for. Ask Nate and he'll tell you. I always want to try to throw some sort of trippy thing into whatever I'm doing. He's like, why does everything always have to be psychedelics? But
I love it.
try to
I
go
love
for
it.
that kind of-
Like it's
Yeah.
awesome, but yeah, it's like it's kind of. Can't you do something normal? Like, sorry, no, it's just.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've heard
We were-
that so many times. Like, that's funny.
We were talking at like a story concepts like a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, "I've got this one that has aliens, or one that like everyone's on mushrooms." I was like, "What?"
Yep.
So I love
But
this
yeah,
cover. The they live twist on that one. That one's awesome.
thank you. That's that upcoming book that's going to be going to Kickstarter soon. It's Aquatos Comics. It's a friend of me and Nate's. His name is Rob. Him and Tone Rodriguez. Their publishing company is Aquatos Comics, and that's their new book that's coming out. It's going to be. I think he's going to make 6 of them. That's the second one. We already have the first one in the can.
I got that right
That
here.
one's
I can do
ready
an opening if you guys
Oh,
want
go,
to.
and then I'm working on the third one, and it's all about this comic book saw, and they also it's cave.
Oh, that's I love that stuff. So, all right, hold on. I'm gonna let Nate solo for a second because he's unboxing. So,
Ah.
no pressure, Nate. No pressure.
And then that one time or second grade and I love that line from the Goonies when he's like Moffratelli, they got Chunk, and they're like questioning him, and he's talking about throwing up off the
Okay.
balcony. It's like the best. Okay, here we go. All right, Aquatus Comics, Gabe's Cave. So, oh, that's backwards. This is a foil
Box.
by, I think this is by Leon Leclerc. Let's see the good foil to it. And I believe I've got one by Sir Austin Eckert. This is Austin's cover.
That's awesome.
And I got some goodies in the back. That's what she said.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Perfect. He's back.
Sweet.
All right. So we're mentioning Kickstarter. Nate, you guys just finished up your Kickstarter. How did that go for you?
It went well. We had a big backer back out a couple of days before the end, which definitely took a toll. But we still made our goal, so we still have something to work with. And yeah, I mean, we're just going to keep on rolling. We between that and Fan Fusion, we made enough to finish the series without having to fork any more money out of our own pockets. So excited about that. And we just got accepted into Fan Expo San Francisco, El Paso Comic-Con. We're waiting to hear back about Detroit Comic-Con or Motor City. So we've got a couple things going on, but we'll see how it goes.
So, and I think you said, so you're going to keep rolling into issue 5.
Yeah.
So what do you think you guys are going to have? Where's that as far as production goes?
We started production 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So
great.
we've actually I need to follow up with Eric, but he sent in the roughs and for page 1 and just right on point with what we're doing with the brand. So yeah, we're excited and
I was saying,
going to San Francisco.
Well, not as fun as it probably used to be as San Francisco goes, but it's still one of the bigger shows. But yeah, I was we were talking on the phone earlier this week. I think issue 4 you guys really hit your stride, and I think it's really everything really came together on that one. So I'm very excited for you guys, and I think any of the backers or anybody who's able to pick one up in the comic shops really enjoy issue 4. So
You have to break it off.
You want to say hi?
Hi.
No, come on,
Hi.
Say hi.
No,
Come on.
I don't want to show my face.
I know those weirdos.
He's gonna do a face reveal after he gets 100,000 followers on TikTok.
Of course.
I'm not even on there.
So what's happening, Josh?
Waiting to go to the movies here. There's a bunch of them I want to see.
So have you guys seen any of the new ones? I know the biggest one is obviously Little Mermaid. That's one we were all expecting to go see. Oh no, sorry. So no, JK. I don't care about Little Mermaid, but the new Spider-Verse movie.
They'd seen them all twice. Whatever's
They've
out
seen
there
them all
that
twice.
I have to go see it for myself, and then I got to see it with my kids. And
right,
no, I need.
Has to go scope it out, right? So I know it's one of those. It's crushing right now. I think that was one of the tops at the box office this week. So I haven't gone to check it out, but I know it's. I think it's great. It's not the introduction, but it's a great follow up with mainly Miles Morales and is it Spider-Gwen? So
yeah. Did you see?
I heard it was. I heard it was like the. David was saying it's like the best Spider-Man movie, or the best. Yeah, I think that's what he said. It was like the best Spider-Man movie ever, and I like the first one a lot. I really want to see it. I might take my son to go see it next week. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, I was thinking about sneaking over on Tuesday to go see it, but it didn't end up happening. But yeah, it's definitely on the list. And then obviously the big one being released this week is The Flash. So, what are you guys' interests, or what are your expectations of that one?
I want to see Nicolas Cage as Superman.
Right? Yeah.
Hey,
Hey! I just saw another one where I was like, oh, with this cameo, I was like, stop. Just give everybody like at least a day or two, man. That's why, like, God bless YouTubers and all that, but like, man, just a few days, please.
No kidding.
Is that Ted Lasso on your shirt?
Yes, sir.
I want to see him as Superman.
Hell yeah. You want to see him as Ted Lasso or just Jason Sudeikis?
Ted Lasso.
The all-American hero, yeah. Did you watch Ted Lasso, the season 3?
I haven't seen any of it.
Definitely, that's a recommend. Of few things like I'm like, yeah, like you would like that. Like that's Ted Lasso is one of the few. Like, yeah, go check that out. Because let's be honest, there's not a ton where I'm like, oh, that's great. Because like there's just not a ton of great stuff out there right now. But I think Ted Lasso is one of those shows where I was like, at least the first 2 seasons are really good. The third one kind of like I think they kind of rushed it just because I don't know if they were scared of like the writer's strike ruining production or not. But they said, yeah, let's wrap it up now, and it's like, ugh. If they just take their time just a little bit.
What streaming service is it on?
It's on Apple.
Ah, man, that's the one I don't have too.
That's what everybody's like.
Damn
Apple has their own thing. I was like, yeah, because when I bought my wife's iPhone, we had service, and it was just one of those things where it's the few.
So if you have an iPhone, do you get it for free?
It depends when, but I don't think so because I know it was one of the deals that she had because I don't do Apple, but
okay.
But that's the one streaming service she controls. So.
The one thing that I'm really concerned about is that the last season of The Witcher is coming out in like a week or 2.
No. That's gonna keep going. They're gonna keep running with.
Well, with Henry Cavill,
Hemsworth, right?
Yes.
Wait, another Hemsworth is taking over Witcher?
That's what they're saying, but it's not going to survive.
Liam, I think.
It's not.
Liam.
Yeah, it's not Chris. We'll just say not Chris. Of the Hemsworth brothers. But
Is it the one from Independence Day 2, or the other one from Infinity Pool?
he was in
Do you know which
Hunger
one?
Games. I don't know if
The
you
one
watched
from
I
Hunger
don't know
Games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn it. He's like my least favorite one.
Of all the Hemsworth, you picked that one.
No, but The Witcher is just so awesome. I'm ready. I will probably binge The Witcher. I don't binge shows very often, but
Yeah, like I said, there's just not a ton where I was like, there's not a lot that kind of gets my my nerd juices a flowing. But The Witcher, like I'm not a huge necessarily fantasy guy. I'm a more sci-fi guy. So
yeah.
The Witcher was okay, but I know there's fans out there that loved Henry Cavill and loved The Witcher. I was like, it's cool. I mean, the action's fantastic, but it's just I have the attention span of a cat, so it's hard. It's hard for me to really get into a show. Well, most of the stuff I do, I just put it on in the background. So, but what did? Because I know like everybody liked the first season, Nate. What about the second season? I know there's some issues where whatever people want to say, like Henry Cavill got sidelined a little bit. What did you think?
I loved it. I love that
Loved it.
whole
Okay.
thing. I love everything about it.
Yeah.
The finale. I was like, I think I was laying in bed watching it. And I was like, I started jumping up and down the bed. Yeah, yeah. It was so exciting to me. I came out. I told my wife, I'm like, you gotta watch this. The fight scenes in the end were so like thrilling and climactic, like because you've seen so many fight scenes. And it's like you watch something like, okay, Black Widow, like, okay, cool, she did one new move that you haven't seen before. Like they were doing stuff that was so cool and like I just didn't see it coming. And then I'm not gonna say too much. It was great.
Did you watch was it Blood Origin?
Didn't like it.
Yeah, I literally I gave it 5 minutes and I was like, nope, not for me.
Yeah. It felt like they were forcing it.
Yeah, I immediately forgot about it. It was one of those. I literally gave it 5 minutes. I was like, no, we're not doing this today. So
Yeah.
What else we got? So I don't know if you want to talk about, but Disney's in trouble with the writer's strike and everything. And like, hold on, let me see. Let's check in on Disney real quick. So with the writer's strike, so I think, no, like you have a script for production, like you're good to go. But you can't do any reshoots with any rewrites. If anything needs to be rewritten, it can't be done. And the way Disney/Marvel does all their stuff, like they have a script at the beginning, quote unquote, but they basically just kind of make it up as they go. So Disney is completely basically gonna be shut down between the Marvel stuff, the Star Wars stuff. It's just not looking good. And I think it just for nerds in general, like this writer's strike, and then with the actors going on strike, it's gonna be pretty slim pickings for nerds.
No entertainment.
Pretty much, I was like, fine, we'll make it here. It's fine. We'll do our own stuff. We'll
go in the backyard and start a fire and sit around it, cry.
Yeah, we'll tell stories by the campfire via Zoom or whatever. But yeah, it's one of those, man. Like, what do you guys think of just the outlook for? Because I'll be honest, like there wasn't a whole lot I was looking forward to, but now it's like anything that was worth anything, man, it's just getting completely pushed down the road. Where, because I know Disney's dates for their slates and everything are getting pushed back. Like they're talking about pushing movies going back to 2031. Like all the stuff, like because all the avatars were slated. Like Avatar's getting pushed back to. Which one is the third Avatar? The 2031. All the Star Wars movies that were announced, those are getting pushed back. The Deadpool movie, That's getting pushed. Like
It's
everything's
news.
getting pushed back.
Mhm.
No, wait. Avatar's getting pushed back to 2031.
The
third-
last one.
Yeah, the
I
last
thought it
one.
was
The
Hold
third
on,
one.
let me-
Five.
Oh, okay.
5.
Number 5. Okay,
Yeah,
because the third one was
so-
supposed to come out next year, and I was stoked.
Yeah, well, because they shot them. Yeah, because they shot. I think the second and third ones back to back, so they kind of had it in the can, so now it's in post production. But yeah, like everything Disney, Disney, all that's getting pushed back, like at least
Damn.
a year. So
How long for the Deadpool movie? How long did that get pushed back?
that
I think they bumped it up. They
Oh,
bumped it up 7 months.
well, that's the thing.
Nice.
They because that's a weird one because as soon as they announced it, they're like, "Oh, it's let me hear," and then they immediately pushed it back. So this is from Variety. So among all the highlights of the overhaul, a live-action Moana will be. I know you guys were excited about that one. Moana will be released
Yeah.
in 2025. Deadpool 3 moved up from. So they moved that one actually up from November 8th to May 3rd, 2024. Star Wars
Nice.
pushed back to 2026. Avatar 3 to 2025. Avatar 4
Oh,
to
wow.
2029. Avatar 5.
Avatar 3 got shipped like a whole year.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
I will say this because you're asking about Marvel, and it's like there's been I hear superhero fatigue, but the Spider-Man movie that just came out is a superhero movie, and it's so fresh.
well, that's the thing, Nate. It's funny you say that because that's always the argument, right? Everybody's like, "Oh, superhero fatigue." No, it's crap fatigue. No, people are tired of seeing crap. If you put out good
True.
quality stuff, people will go see it. As it turns out, like why there's not a slate of Spider-Man movies going for the next decade, I don't know. But it's just one of those. No, if it's quality, yeah, people are going to come. That's simple.
That is true.
So, probably one of the things that's probably not quality is going to be the new Indiana Jones movie. Film Threat. Chris Gore was reviewing it, and he's just like, not looking good, guys. So,
Really?
you have an 80-year-old Harrison Ford, and not just to help with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but the co-star. Like, she's very prominent in the movie. I'm just like, hey, just let Indiana Jones go out like on top.
He's gonna play the Red Hulk too.
What?
Yeah. We'll get to that, but it is one of those like Harrison Ford. Are you in debt to the mob? Like what? Like you're 80 years old. Like you are one of the few of the last remaining movie stars. Like, what are you doing? Who's making you do? Is it Clifton Flockhart?
It's like Gerard Butler just keeps on doing crap movies or something. I saw like it was the celebrity tweets are like, why do you keep doing crap movies? Because you have student debt.
College debt that we don't know about. Is Scotland coming after you? It's kind of weird because the writers are on strike, and I want to get David on here and get his point of view because I think this could not be a worse time for the writers to start going, we want more money, and everybody's going like, you suck, stop it. Like, it's just like, there's so little. Like I said, there's so few shows where I was like, oh, you have to go watch this, you need to go see this, like, and it's just like, no, it's pretty slim pickings in general, and that's gonna get even slimmer as the longer this strike goes on.
They're gonna get the Chat GPT thing, and that will just start writing shows.
Might as well. Well, it's funny you say that because that's one of the things like they're concerned about. They're concerned about the AI. I was like, first of all, everybody who does any graphic design, video editing, AI has been being implemented for years now. It's been considered a asset, for to help you along. Now it's like the writers are like, whoa, with the AI, we don't want our jobs taken. All the graphic design people are like, that's why there's so many graphic designers out there only making 30 grand and can't, barely pay the rent.
Yeah.
Because they've made all those programs so easy to use. Especially the video editing programs. Like you used to be able to be pretty hardcore into those programs now. Like anybody can run them.
It's funny because it's like doing the comic book stuff, working with people like Austin. Like I have such an appreciation for the artist, their process, and they're doing AI imagery, and some of it looks amazing to me, but it's not real, like like the soul of somebody putting it on paper. But I have a friend, the guy that did the Jaws cover, and he is like, you're not going to stop it. He's like, as an artist, he's like, I'm going to learn how to implement pieces of it into what I do. And I thought that's, I mean, like if you're doing video and you implement, it's like learning how to work with a different tool, maybe. I don't know. And he's like,
I think you used the right term. That it's going to go in the toolbox. Are there going to be people who, like me, I can't write to save my life. I can draw a little bit. I can do video stuff.
Yeah.
There's certain things I can do, but as far as like writing a script, I can't do that. But if I can go into my toolbox and say, "Hey, AI, I need a script that says essentially this," it spits it out in a few seconds. So, it's kind of unfortunate that it's weird. Like I said, the writers say no AI, but everybody else is like, "Yeah, cool." So it's it's pretty interesting how that's going to go out, going to end up. And I think that's one of the things that the writer strike is they're going to try and control it somehow. I don't know how, because that's their big fear is AI is going to take over. Okay. But like I said, I think it's going to be more of a tool where they give it like a rough outline and then some like a framework to work off. So,
one thing I know about the artist that was interesting is there was like this one artist, I forget, was it Jenny Frisian or Tula Lotte, but the AI had actually like copied her unique style and not like given her any credit or like, and it was like blatant where it's like, oh, look at this thing we made with your style. Like, it's like Austin's style is unique. Like, oh, we're going to AI this and make it our own. It's kind of, I don't know.
All you have to do is I would just have to go into the AI and say, hey, I want this, but in Austin style.
Yeah.
It doesn't, that's the thing. It doesn't create, it literally just steals. And I know that's one of the big things.
No, I think it had.
Artists were saying.
I think it had. That was, unless somebody, because there was like 10 artists that had filed suit against the company that created it because it was they had like, unless the people in the company had said, go do this, but they were, filing suit against this company because it was 10 very unique artists. And it's like, oh, we've duplicated their style. It's kind of, I don't know.
Austin, what do you think of the whole AI working itself into especially just speaking from like the art realm?
I agree with the whole using it as another tool in the tool belt kind of thing, but I'm still a little against it. I don't know. I mean, like the way I would see it being useful for myself would be maybe if I used it to help me maybe like with layouts or some sort of design aspect, but to just plug it in and have it do the whole thing, I don't know. I don't like that, and the whole stealing of the style thing, I'm definitely against that. And I don't know. Yeah, that's a tricky one because there's been things in the past that people have been against, and then it ended up being useful, and I don't know. I just don't know how.
We had talked about it, using it for us, and I think we, some like, I mean, I can't draw, right? So we were thinking more or less using it for backgrounds, right? So if you have the whole background and the whole scene behind it kind of pop in the AI, I don't like 3D animation or whatever, but if you had the background pop as the AI and had your traditional 2D drawings in front of it, I think it would make it pop a little more. Something to play around with. I mean, they're doing it with music a lot right now. You got Frank Sinatra singing one of Biggie's songs.
Little John. I heard that one.
They can grab somebody's style so quick and easy off the music. I just last night on the news, they're going to start limiting it, I guess. But how are you going to really limit it?
Well, it's just one of those things. Like Austin was saying, like, yeah, there's going to be people who use it for certain things, and there's going to be other people who abuse it, and you almost have to, rely on the consumer to say, hey, that's too much. Like, we know that's not, that's not real art. But then again, who knows?
A lot of these cons won't let you sell any kind of AR artwork, so
which is good.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there are some, but you have to say that it is, right? You'd be like, this was generated, whatever, but it's not original artwork, and that's something you got to specify.
I also heard that they passed some sort of law that you cannot copyright AI generated art.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah, because that's always a tricky thing. Like, look what I did. Be like, no.
Well, I typed in South Park style episode, Magic Mushrooms, Dave Chappelle, and it shot out. It shot out a brief script.
Sounds amazing.
It is amazing. I saw it.
It's crazy what it comes up with. I mean, it can get you pointed in a direction. I don't think you can necessarily use it to write out your full script, but it can get you pointed in a direction of somewhere to go.
Yeah, like I said, I think that's what we were kind of saying. Like, if you use it as a tool, cool, but it can't be the whole project. Yeah, and that's kind of where I think a lot of people are. I think that's kind of one of the things that, especially the writer strike and the Screen Actors Guild strike, is because kind of getting back to Indiana Jones, where the first 20 minutes, obviously it's not because it's a young Harrison Ford, so it's clearly not Harrison Ford. And people are thinking at what point is just people are going to, like Josh said, he's just like, you put in, hey, Indiana Jones, from, Temple of Doom or whatever, and then basically make your own adventure that way. So people are basically making their own movies at home, just from the AI. Because
who knows, you might have this whole new creativity coming out of nowhere from these strikes. There could be some great stuff coming out of it.
Well, and I think, and that's kind of the point I was trying to make earlier, like the writing right now, I would say is not strong. And I think this is probably going to be a big purge for a lot of people who are like, hey, you're a writer, but maybe it shouldn't be. It's like, unfortunately be a purge, but for people like, hey man, this might not be for you, because I think that's ultimately what's going to be happening. It's going to be quite a purge, and it's already starting to happen with, I think Warner Brothers is already basically, throwing away contracts and all that. So, but yeah, so because there's a big action sequence in no spoilers, hopefully, but for the opening part of Indiana Jones, it's young Indiana Jones, but it's obviously not Harrison Ford. They just plastered, between AI and deep fake technology on a younger actor's body. For probably the untrained eye, they'd be like, that'll probably work. That'll be good enough. For some of the a little bit more savvy people, like, yeah, that's not natural. You can kind of, that's where the big thing is, where you can tell it's not exactly natural. So
the uncanny valley.
Exactly. Well, and that's a big thing, is like, they're like, yeah, that looks just like a young Harrison Ford, but man, the eyes are dead, that whole thing.
Right.
So, and
I thought they did really good in the Boba Fett, the Boba Fett show where they had Luke. I thought that was probably the best replacement thing I've seen.
Well, yeah. Well, even the jump from the end of season 2 for Mandalorian into, the couple of episodes that were basically Mandalorian season 2.5. But just the jump from there was, because that was a big thing. People were like, oh, it looked like his face floating, originally, but yeah, I think they tightened it up by the time they brought it back.
I think when they made Sam Jackson younger too for what Captain Marvel, that looked pretty good.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, they've been doing that a lot. I remember which of the X-Men movie where they de-aged Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart. They're like, what happened?
X-Men 3.
Yeah, it's like
That was
yes.
way early on in there. They did not even they weren't even close to having it down yet at that point.
But it was
That
so
looked
early.
so
Like
weird.
that sorta works. But I mean, Lucasfilm's been doing that for a long time. They did that with Episode 2 with Count Dooku with the battle with Anakin. It's just they've been doing that stuff for a while. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the Episode
They
2
de-aged.
They didn't de-age, but they head swapped and they put Christopher Lee's head on. Where
because he couldn't do all those. He couldn't do all those jumps and shit.
Yeah.
What do you mean that wasn't really Yoda?
Oh, sorry, I think it was early Episode 3 where Anakin duels.
What was the one? Like what was the one when Yoda was fighting? Was that Episode 1?
Yeah, that was Episode 2. That was Episode 2.
Oh, what do you mean that wasn't Yoda?
Yeah, what do you mean? Like they just didn't have the little
they face swapped Yoda
around
with a younger. Yoda's too old to do that.
Yeah, they face swapped him with the puppet from Episode 1. Yeah.
Yes. Or Oscar the Grouch, one of the two.
But Josh,
you got caught.
Are we still on for Mutant Mayhem?
For what?
Are we going to see Mutant Mayhem?
You cut out.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I say, are we still on to go?
Talk shit about that?
I ain't talking shit yet. I can't talk shit about something that came out yet.
It doesn't matter. I'm not doing it.
You're not doing it?
I'll do it, but I'm kind of disappointed in it. I mean, I don't like the style. I mean, maybe it'll grow on me after watching it, but
I saw the trailer and I thought that they're trying to kind of copy Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
they're trying to do something edgy and shifty, like you are seeing some tracers or something.
Yeah. Well, I think I can speak for. We grew up with Disney animation. I kind of thought that was it, and then like all these new animated movies, I was like, what are you doing? Like that's not better.
That's not normal.
Yeah,
what's wrong with you people?
Yeah, that's not how you draw things. And then you realize like, oh, we can do whatever we want now. I'm like, but should you? So, I think Mutant Mayhem's one of those. Should you do that? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, look, we put on the internet. I'm gonna go check it out. Josh, I'm gonna go drag Josh with me. I don't know how, but
yes,
we are gonna review it. So, Austin, you seem like a turtle guy because I've seen a lot of your.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, so what's your? Because, damn it, I meant to grab thing because, I grabbed the IDW like the first complete. I don't know what they call them, omnibuses or whatever, but it's like the first 7 issues. I was like, that stuff's fantastic. Like
The
even
Easton
though
and
it's all,
Laird stuff.
yeah, it's the first 7 issues, and I didn't realize like how much world building they did in like the first 4 issues. I'm just sitting there and it's like, this stuff's it holds up. Like obviously some of the zingers don't hold up necessarily, but I was like, that stuff holds up really well.
It's super gritty too.
It's just one of those, like I said, it was one of those. I was expecting to be pretty dated. I was like, this stuff really holds up. Like the artwork, well, it's actually both of them doing the art, and that's one of the cool things I hadn't realized. And they actually like would literally hand the pages back and forth to each other as they're like working on them. I was like, that's kind of weird.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it blew a lot of people's minds that like because Eastman's, especially if you see him, like, he's just got that really. It's a very distinct style. He's not going to be compared to, with Jim Lee anytime soon. But he has his very own, really gritty style that I've come to appreciate. But it's That's
So
the
then why deviate from it?
what? Yeah, yeah. That's the thing too. Well, like Austin, like you find your styles. Like if it works for you, you just keep going with it. And
Josh says that, but he likes who's the local guy that you like his style?
From where?
From Phoenix. He's a you saw his stuff.
Henson, Eric Henson.
Eric Henson. Yeah, Josh. He's a believer in the true, but we actually drove all the way out to Surprise Comics to go look at some issues when he came out here. It was a long drive.
well, it's funny you say that. Like one of the last Motor City Comic Con we had, I had like 3 things I wanted to do. We had a photo op with some of the guys from Star Trek, and I want to go hit up, check out one of the animation. They actually sell like the animation cells and stuff. See if they had any cool stuff, and then go see one artist, Gavin Smith, because he has the same name as our grandson, which I thought was funny. And then the only reason we went over to go see him is because he had, or like, to go see this guy, and then he ends up doing the pencils for the only comic book my wife collects. So I'm like, and then he now he's working on the turtle stuff. So now I got to go back this year and see, like, oh, you're doing the stuff that I want to do. So that issue just came out for starting on issue 140. He's taking over for pencils, so it was pretty cool to talk to him about just geek out on turtle stuff. So it was like, it was pretty fantastic. So,
all the original turtles were at Fan Fusion this year.
that's I was like, I damn near went to Nate. I was like, hey Nate, go get me some turtle stuff, because that's how I was talking to him. I was like, I didn't realize Fan Fusion. That's a big freaking show, guys. Talk about that.
Yeah, it was huge. It was really cool.
It was cool. Have I been on with you since then?
No, we just talked about it on the phone.
But it's so like we had a good con. I don't know if everybody says it. I had a good con. Hooray! But we did well. And
Who'd you con?
what's that?
Who'd you con?
Who did I con? Well, there was these couple guys, and I did a con job. Sounds inappropriate, but it was cool. So my younger son, he wanted to walk through at one point, and I forget what we were looking for, but we were walking, and I didn't realize that they had this whole section blocked off for celebrities, and we're cruising, and there's like people in line, and then we get to like one area, and I recognize they have like a banner of the guy, and it's Jeffrey Pierce, and he's in the show The Last of Us. He plays Tommy, and I recognized his face, and I was like, oh, cool. And I had one of our issues. I had 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I had that Last of Us cover that J Photos did for us. And I saw that it said Last of Us, and I was like, oh, I know that guy. And there's nobody in line, and he's standing there with 2 women. And so I take my son up in tow, and we walk up there, and I'm like, are you signing? And the lady's like, I'm like, all right, cool. So I ended up paying, but I got his signature on the cover. I put it down in front of him, and he just stared at it for like, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds, like registering. He's like, oh, that's cool. So that was kind of a highlight, but got some cool sketch covers done. Austin let me go sit at his table several times when I wasn't feeling well. So it was like 40 people behind our table for some reason. I mean, I know why they were there, but Austin was really cool. Let me sit with him, and yeah, I don't know. David spoke in some panels that went well. Yeah, Austin, what do you got to say?
Yeah, I was a guest this year, which was really nice. I've never been a guest at any con before, and that was the goal. Like one of my 2 goals at the beginning of this year, when I kind of did my New Year's resolution, was to be a guest at Fan Fusion, and hopefully I can be a guest at a LA Comic Con this year. But we'll see. I still have yet to hear back from the person, but the real goal would be to be invited as a guest. I had to. I was lucky. I got the email of the lady, and I emailed her like a month after the last Fan Fusion, And then it was just basically playing email tag for the next year after that. It was, if you don't hear from me by this date, email me back. And I just kept emailing her. And eventually they gave me the spot. And it was really nice. I was down there with a lot of really talented people. The girl that was next to me, I think her name is Brianna Garcia. She kept having people come up to her table over and over again. Apparently she goes to Disneyland and just sits and draws, and I think she videotapes it and puts it on TikTok or something like that. But people were like, oh, I know you, I love watching your videos. And she's extremely talented. She had a really cute Disney animated style. And then right behind me, I think, was Howard Chaykin. I think he was there, right? It was Howard Chaykin, wasn't it, Nate?
I don't know.
I'm pretty. I think that was who was right behind me. Right across from me was Dave Beatty, who I've heard of before. Straight down the way was David Finch, but I'd never worked up the balls to go talk to him.
I love Dave. As him and Brett Booth, all those like kind of underrated like '90s guys, where I was like, yeah, those were the guys I loved, and it's cool that Brett Booth's he's worked with McFarlane, so
yeah, Brett Booth is awesome. His gunslinger stuff is killer.
Love it. It's fantastic. It's
you wanted Austin to do a Spawn sketch cover for you, I thought.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys are both here.
They tried to link us up, and I was like, I just been so damn busy. I was because I bought a blank cover. I was like, see if Austin can do it. So we'll talk about it later.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Say if you can do that, and then we'll give it. I got some. Trying to get some stuff to give away to help grow the show a little bit. So I was gonna see if you wanted to be interested in working on that. So that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, let's do it.
Fantastic. So. Yeah, thanks, Nate. That was only like 3 months of me dropping the ball on that one. But,
it was cool to see a lot of different artists there. We met like Mog Park, Philip Jin, and then we have like I don't know if Austin would call, but there's like a local homie posse that have kind of gotten to know. Like one of them actually walked by. I won't say his name, but he walked by Austin's stallmate, the one he was just talking about, and he's like, she's so pretty. Go in there and talk to her, man. Ask her for a sketch.
Never know, right? You always gotta shoot your shot. You never know. But,
yeah.
But also, like, because while we were doing the sound checker, I was like, man, you grind hard. Like, you seem to be always out either signing at a comic book store or at a con. So where can people find you? What do you got? I know you're trying to find out on LA Comic-Con, but
I'll be at I have yet to hear back from them too, but I put in to be at the Phoenix Zine Fest because my style kind of, and plus I have some zines I've made that I've been published in some zines across the country, but so I'm gonna be doing that. I did it last year. It was a really fun show. What was the other one? There's going to be around Halloween. There's this thing called Atomic Monster Weekend. I'll be a guest there. Where else? I know there's other things coming up. I really wish I could be at Mad Monster, but something.
Has David not talked to you yet?
Oh yeah,
I tried to be quiet. I'm trying to be quiet.
Oh no, he had mentioned something, but I didn't know if anything was for sure yet.
Oh,
but he was saying that maybe if you didn't go, he would need somebody to go with him.
You may or may not be getting a call from David very soon about going to Mad Monster. You heard it here first.
Oh well then. See, wishes come true. I really want
on the Escape podcast. Wishes only come true on Escape.
Yes. Where dreams
really
are
like
made.
The horror cons have been really cool. I think I'd like to go to more of them. I'm gonna. Oh yeah, the Scaredy Cast. They're another podcast. They're having a con. It's called Scaredy Con. I'm gonna be at that one as well. And then I like going down to Strange Adventures and setting up. They always let me set up a table and sell my books. I did like a little release thing down there when I finished my 4th and 5th issue of my book, and then I go and hang out at other shops and draw a lot, but I try to go to as many things as I can to network. And it seems like you got to remind people that you're there. Otherwise you just kind of get forgotten and you disappear back into the mist that you came out of. But
Well, that's like with any content or social media. Like if you're not pumping out content, either physically or digitally, like you fade away. Like you said, it's and there was a pretty interesting hashtag on uh, Twitter, and kind of get your guys' take on this. Is comics broke me? Have you guys heard about that?
Comics what?
Comics broke me. Or I
Broke
think,
me.
yeah, it's kind of one of those. Hey, these people that are either put all their eggs in one basket, or basically saying like, there's no money to be made in comics. Where it's like, like I said, Austin, at least we were talking earlier. You got I don't know if it's a full-time gig or at least another gig where, like, how, and we were kind of touching on like how hard is it to really make, and Nate and Josh, you guys can jump. Like, how hard is it to make it where you're actually consistently making, a consistent living off your comics?
We'll tell you when we
Just
get
in the
there.
comic, or just in the comic. What's that?
We'll tell you when we get there.
Right. So
Yeah.
as soon as we start making good money, we'll
No,
come back. But,
they don't have starving artists for no reason. I mean,
that was kind of the thing where a lot of people, the YouTubers who worked in the comic industry, be like, if you're still there, and they broke you, that's not to be rude, but that's kind of on you guys, because they all knew what they were getting into. One of the YouTubers I was talking to, John Bird, said, "Hey man, you got the talent, but if it's not what you think it is."
No, and the consistency is a key. That's one thing like that really stood out to me about Austin when I met him is he's just going. Like you said, he's always doing something. He's some people I've seen, they talk a lot and they might be a decent artist, but it's like if you're a baseball player and you show up to one game a season, like you're not very valuable to the team. If you're out there every day practicing, swinging, throwing, like I don't know. There's a couple people that I know that I've seen in comics that are doing that. But what's funny is almost all of them have extra job, like have a day job. And the people that I know that are like full-time artists, they're like always on the go. They're at home doing commissions, working on things, and every weekend they're traveling. So it's like it almost seems harder talking to some of these people. I mean, and it's not like there's Philip Jin, who we met. He lives in Oakland and he's going to North Carolina this weekend, and he was just in Dallas last weekend. So he's flying back and forth across the nation. But it's a grind, and people like Austin are kind of what's the right word? Motivational, inspirational. It's like it's just cool.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, if you follow him on Instagram, you're like, dude, you grind. Like you're
Thank you.
I think they use for the the music band term, you're road dogs, man. You're just out there. God bless you. Because I was just like, where's he at now? He's where now? Where's he at this? I was like, holy good. So, but no, that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, and because I was thinking about that earlier, I was like, even if, hey, you go to a con and you get a bunch of commissions and you're like, yeah, I got commissions, but I was like, that's just more work. I was like, and you gotta, I mean, it's cool that your work is art, but it's still a lot of work that you just made yourself. So,
yeah.
Right. And yeah, I do have a full-time, I'll call it my second job, but it's my, my day job. But that makes it hard because, it's a really labor-intensive job. So I go all day and work 8 hours there and then come home. And if I want to get anything done, I got to sit down at my table for another 4 to 6 hours. And sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes I don't want to do it. But I think that having the day job affords me the luxury of being able to do it, because I've heard from other people that when it's your full-time gig, it kind of ruins it for you for a lot of guys, and it's really hard to stay afloat. And I don't really have to worry about, like, am I gonna pay my rent? With these projects, I can just kind of pick and choose and do what I want to do and go to the things that I want to go to, because I already have all that taken care of with my day job,
Yeah.
And a lot of it, I owe a lot to Nate too, because I wouldn't have gone to LA Comic Con or Tucson Comic Con, or, we've gone to a bunch of different shows together, and he's really helped me, him and Rob too. Rob from Aquatas Comics have helped me kind of spread out to further regions instead of being stuck here in the local Phoenix area. Because if it wasn't for them, with my, I can't come up with the word. Anyway, I would be stuck around this area. I wouldn't really be able to move to other places and show my stuff. So
I just want to throw in a side note real quick. Somebody kind of gave me a hard time because they said I was taking advantage of people with Austin and stuff. I just want to throw it out there, because to talk to some artists, they're like, no, this is a great opportunity. Like, basically F those guys that said that, because it's like, and we're working together, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I feel like we're helping each other. It's not like I'm like, come here and get in this gunny sack and let me take advantage of you.
Yeah, because you're standing behind Austin with a whip saying "draw, draw." You're right. It's like,
how did you know that?
Yeah, that did happen.
That's one time, right?
You haven't been to Nate's sweatshop yet.
I was saying, in Arizona, everything's a sweatshop, right?
You got over there and everything.
God, lately.
As it's raining in like 67 here, or 59, because I'm in Michigan, and it was 90 something the other day. Now it's 50 something, because that's just how it goes. But
that sounds so nice.
I like Michigan, but yeah, the weather it's fickle. I'll say that. But kind of getting back to the point where I think we always kind of heard when we were growing up, like, do something you love. Like, that's kind of a kind of two-edged sword, where I know I had family members like, oh, I want to go into baking, and because I really like baking, I was like, and jump in if you want to with this, awesome, where it's like, yeah, I like drawing, but it's like, but not to say the art gets contaminated, but it's not the same when you're doing art for someone else, right? It's everybody wants to be where you're doing your own art, and everybody loves your own art, but that's not how it works, where it's like, hey, I want this, but I want it to be like this. And, it's kind of such a weird thing, where I was like I said, getting back to the baking thing, I was like, that's great that you love baking, but do you want to do it? I know you like making cookies, but do you want to have to make like 1,000 cookies a day? There's a big difference between, like, you really better love art. You really better love baking. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you depend on it for your income and to pay your bills, I've heard from other artists that is their full-time gig, that it does kind of ruin it for you. But for me, it depends. I get lucky a lot of the time, because people see my style, and they ask me any sort of commissions or anything that I get. They ask me to do things that they would think would look good with my style. So it ends up being fun for me, because usually they're right, and it is something really cool or interesting, some cool obscure character, or, something that would be bright and trippy, and it would just go well with my style. So I usually have fun, even if I'm drawing things that other people want. It's when somebody wants something boring, or something like that, like draw me a kitten holding a flower or something, that would be boring. But
it's be the most nightmarish flowering cat you've ever seen.
I heard something recently. It was like everybody's taking their hobbies and making it into a side hustle, and then they get bored of it and have no more hobbies.
Well, and you realize like you said, you know, they said like either they ruin it, but I think a big thing, especially for artists, man, you can get burnt out so fast.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's where like I keep going back to like like you're a machine when it like you're always drawing. Like I like to draw, like, but I'm just like the amount of stuff you put, I'm just like holy jeez, because that's why when I was younger in high school, I was like, yeah, I want to go draw comics, and then I realized like I draw far too slow to be good at this. But like you seem to be just drawing constantly, so
It's really cathartic for me. Like I sitting down and drawing. I sometimes I have issues with panic attacks. It's been less lately, but anytime if I was having a panic attack, if I sat down and started drawing, it would completely, I would just forget about it, and I would realize like an hour later that I was perfectly fine. It's something about getting into that flow state, and then also like going to events. That's another reason why I like going to pretty much any event, whether it's something super small and nobody's going to go to it, or if it's something like Fan Fusion is. I get this kind of buzz and this energy from it. It's almost like it gets me high, and it's I don't know it. And then so that I feed off of that, and I'll sit there. I'll draw. It'll end up being. I think Fan Fusion went from like 10 to 7 on Friday and Saturday, and that whole day just flew by in the quickest time because I'm sitting there having the time of my life. And that's how it is at pretty much any event that I go to. And I hope it stays that way, because I know for some people going to conventions and stuff like that, they hate it. They hate dealing with the public and talking to people, and they'll sit there and you can see them too when you walk through the aisles. Some of them are sitting there just looking down at their phone, and then others, some people are more of the salesman type. They'll be out talking to people because they're trying to make a sale, and then there's like the people that are there genuinely because they like to talk to people and just having a conversation. They're not even trying to get the sale out of them or anything like that. And I'd like to be that person that's genuinely just happy to be there and happy to talk to people. I love to talk to people about things, and when they stop by my table, I try to compliment whatever they're wearing, or and make them feel good.
It's funny you say that, because the last comic I went to, I bought some turtle prints from an artist. They're like super cool style, like unique, but like when you walk up to his booth, like he's like looks up at you like, what do you want? I was like, your art? Like, that's why that's why you're here. That's why I'm here. Like, come on, like a little not necessarily customer service, but like, come on, man. Like,
no, but that's not always true, because like being at different cons, there's people that come up to you and like they're like trying to sell you things.
Yeah.
And trust me, I know, and that was kind of one of the funny things that the one guy was talking about on a video earlier. You used to have the guys, and Austin, I don't know if people still do this, but like bring around their portfolios saying, hey man, like, here's my portfolio, and like, okay, cool, next. It's like, but no, yeah, and if for anyone who has not been to a comic book convention, yeah, you get a lot of people selling things, but like but it was just like, dude, I really like your art, but I don't like you right now.
Maybe he's having a bad day.
I don't. Oh, all I know is
What?
he had a tattoo of I forget. He had tattoos on the sides of his finger, and when he stuck up his middle finger, it was a red lightsaber. He had lightsabers on his finger, and for the middle finger, he had red lightsaber. I was like, so you flip a lot of people off. That says a lot. I was like, I'm getting that vibe right now. So yeah.
I just say, when we did a Comic-Con, like when my grandpa was passing away, I was so tired and I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was just like, I for real was that guy, and people were coming up trying to sell us stuff or show me their portfolio. I'm like, can you just please email it to me? Like I ran out of energy. I'm not trying to justify what that guy was doing, but I just wanted to disconnect at that point. Like, I just want to go home, like having a bad day.
My interaction, my social battery is at 0 right now.
Pretty much.
Yeah, cons are draining. That like that thing I was talking about, how I get this buzz off of it. it's like at the end there's this huge come down too. So I at the end of most of those shows, I'm freaking exhausted as well. And then especially if it's a more than one day con, now you got to go the next day early and try to be on again, and it can be really draining.
Yeah, for a big con, you're there all weekend.
Yeah.
And then you went to work on Monday, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
That
sucked. That sucked big time.
That's why I would say not trying to kiss ass for that. I was like, God bless you, because you're just you grind, and you got my respect just from the workload. So, kind of a creative question where it comes to, like I said, you draw a lot. Is it almost, when it comes to drawing, almost like a muscle where you got to keep that muscle pretty well toned, where you because just for me, like creatively speaking, whereas like when it comes to video stuff, like if I don't do video stuff consistently, like my creative battery drains and it takes a long time to recharge, and where I won't do video stuff or draw stuff or anything creatively for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't draw on a regular basis, it's happened to me. There was a period of time where I didn't draw at all. Right before I started doing all this comic book stuff, during my whole 20s, basically, I didn't do any drawing. I should have, everything I'm doing now, I should have been doing then. I'd probably be a lot further along, but I've come pretty far in just the couple of years that I've been doing this. But yeah, I when I went back to drawing and I look back at the stuff I was doing then, just these past couple of years of drawing all the time and going to all these things, I think it's improved my skills a little bit. But that's the thing I tell people too, and anytime they're like, oh, I can't draw, I can only draw a stick figure or anything, I tell them it's really all it is practice. Pretty much anything you want to do, if you practice it enough and you practice with purpose, and you got to put the time into it, anybody could draw. A lot of people say that there's talent or whatever. Some people are born with talent. I guess that is kind of true. There's some people that even I look at their stuff and I'm just blown away. I don't know how they're that good, but I think a good 80% of it is practice and the time that you put into it, for sure.
Well, it's kind of getting like what Nate was saying earlier with the sports analogy, where it's like, the great ones, there's a difference between, hey, you can get to, let's just use baseball, get up to the majors, where the guys who are talented enough and put in the work to do, keep hitting home runs consistently. Anybody can get up in there and run into a home run periodically, but it's the ones who have the talent to do it and then keep, constantly grinding, keep working, and are the ones that can consistently, it's just, the talent only gets you so far, where you got to have the work ethic, where I'm sure a bunch of guys who get, wow, you're amazingly talented, but they put out, they draw, one or two things.
And it helps to be nice too. I mean, that's what I
was getting back to with the con thing. I was like, I want to give you money. Can you just be nice to me for the 30-second interaction where, come on, man.
And with networking too. If you want to get jobs or you want to further your going along, you can't be a dick. There's a couple people, Nate and I know one in particular that can be kind of a little rough around the edges. But yeah, you gotta be good at talking to people and be friendly, and I don't know. It's all common sense stuff, I guess. Nobody wants to hang out with the jerk, Nobody wants to help out a dick.
Well, and that's kind of get back to like, yeah, you could be talented as all get out, but if you're a pain in the ass to be around, people only be around you for so long. All right, guys, I think that's a pretty good part to start wrapping up. So appreciate you guys for sticking around. Austin or Nate, I gotta get your contact info. I do want to talk to you more about it, some stuff. So, but Austin, thank you so much. We finally got you on. Hope you had a good time. And love talking comics. Appreciate it. Josh, thanks for coming. And yeah,
I'm here.
And we are going to see Mutant Mayhem. We just gotta, and we're gonna talk about it.
Live stream,
and
watch party.
Yeah, watch party. Austin, if you want to get on it, Austin, you're welcome anytime. Anytime you want to come hang out or talk, pimping you your stuff, you're more than welcome to. So
Thank
Nate,
you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Nate, this is last time we're talking, so it's been fun. So when is
just freeze frame on me crying?
Yeah,
Gotta go.
When is issue 4 expected to be hitting people's? I know the Kickstarters. Do we know when those are starting to start shipping for you guys? Or
Oh, they're funny enough. We sold out of what we had, and we are reordering. And with pre-orders, we're already sold out of those. So we have to. I mean, it's all good, right? Like,
yeah, it's good problems.
So, and the funny thing, I just say real quick, me and Josh are doing follow-up sales calls, and so many of these shops are like, "We sold out. Where have you been? Like, what? You have like our contact info? Why don't you call us, email us, like do something, social media, like a red flag?"
Text,
so
smoke signal, yeah.
But yeah, we're and we're not ordering like thousands of copies. So, I mean, it's cool to say we sold out, but it's we only have so much money to work with. So we are already looking at like our third printing of issue 4. And you guys are definitely on the list. And I don't know if you guys are going to go by Liberty, but yeah, we have issue 4.
Yeah, because my new job, I'm like 2 miles from there. So
cool.
Them off, let me know. But right. So those are in the process being shipped, and then you got to get them out to the comic book shop. So how long do you think? Hopefully later this summer.
It's just me and Josh following up. So I mean, like the shop in Hawaii, I just got a hold of the buyer. They're ordering more. Shop in Las Vegas. I forget where else. One more. And then like an exciting thing is we're talking to Graham Cracker Comics, and they have 12 locations in the United States. This is the biggest comic book retail chain. So I've been trying to play tag with the owner, one of the owners. One of the owners followed us, which I thought was a good sign. And then been trying to get a hold of the other owner. But yeah, I mean, it's like we shifted gears from like getting 4 printed, Kickstarter, Fan Fusion, and now Josh and I are trying to do like what do you call it, a quota? Like per week, we're trying to do this. And Josh just created like a template to email blast people, which is fantastic. And then he got an email back that wasn't very nice. The guy was actually kind of a dick. Yeah, I did. Yeah, you want us to read it? You got to go. You want to read it, Josh?
Read it.
Go ahead, read it.
So Josh is sent out this thing. Do you support indie comics? It has some information, a price list, links for social media. The guy responded, "You are kind of wasting my time. You didn't include enough info in the email to order. I don't haggle and I don't go out of my way to get info that you should have already provided. So good luck and no thanks."
So that's a sale.
If you guys can see what was on that email, there's more than
enough. That's all that you sent me. So on the one that you sent. Like this is what Josh sent. It's all official. It's got our thing. It's got the synopsis. It's got the links.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean it's very professional. And then it's got our wholesale price list. Wholesale, is that right? Yeah. So I mean, like very unified front. Like this is how we're going about it. And we actually, Josh and I built a spreadsheet. We're filling in, like we've contacted this store. We're either in, we're waiting, or we're out. There's notes. There's the contact information, like everything. And it's like and then people like it's a big game because people are like, "Oh, Bob's not in, but he'll be in on Tuesday." And you call Bob on Tuesday. He's like, "Yeah, I want to order some, but I need you to email me the list." I'm like, "Why? Like, just order some comics." And it's like a big roundabout game. So Josh and I the idea I think is to not try to do everything at once and just like little by little it.
I'm not mad at it.
Baby step.
I thought it was a funny. You're gonna get on any given day. You're gonna get somebody who's not in a good mood.
I don't think that person's ever in a good mood. So,
and you have those. Well,
maybe we should have him on the podcast and not say we're part of Night of the Chihuahuas. We're gonna have him on Escape Podcast, and we'll be like, "Hey, buddy,
I say,
so
by the
tell
way,
us about your comic shop."
yeah, I say, and by the way, we don't pay anything, so sorry. Except in thank yous. So
Totally troll the guy.
yeah, Austin. You said you had some Kickstarter stuff or
Aquatas Comics does the Gabe's Cave, the second book of Gabe's Cave. I don't have a cover. The first one, this is my cover that I did for the first one. I get that shine out of there. Sorry, I can't.
Right, that's fine.
So then the second one is coming out. This is a sketch cover version of it with no sketch on it, but it's basically about it. The first one's about killer fish, and the second one is about an alien Sasquatch. That's why I did that They Live
Amazing
homage. So yeah, that's gonna be happening. I think he said in like a few weeks or something like that. And then I'm gonna be starting the third book here soon, and then we'll be going to Kickstarter after it's done in like a month or so.
All right, fantastic.
Oh, and I wanted before we go.
No,
I wanted to show Nate. I'm wearing my
yes
for Pork Chop Express, baby.
Yeah. You got to do the, the sign.
Yeah.
I don't not loser. They did this like the thing when they go.
Yeah, okay.
Now when they're drinking the magic potion.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and fun as always. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves, and welcome back anytime.
All right.
All right, guys.
See you later.
And I'm kicking people off. See you, Nate. See you, Josh. All right. So, another fun time with the guys from Night Chihuahuas, and thank you so much for Austin for joining us. Finally, that was a lot of fun. Awesome guy, awesome artist. Go check him out. I think it's on Instagram. Let's see if I can pull up his Instagram real quick for him. So. There we go. So go check him out at Austin Eckert Art. And that's some of the stuff. He's just an awesome style. Good guy. Good art. And he's a comic artist. So, all right. So one of the things that we are going to start adding to the channel is, since I'm a big turtle fan, I said, you know what, let's just talk about turtles. And this is one of the things that we're going to add. Some cowabunga it is, just all about turtle talk. So if you like turtle talk, we're going to doing a lot of turtle talk here, and plus our usual comic book and action figure talk and all that good stuff. So if you have not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. It helps us a lot. You can go check us out over on Facebook and Instagram, Escape with Nick and Adam. We're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and Google Podcasts. Thank you guys for watching us tonight, and we'll see you next time.